Okay.
Good morning. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
Parlez français, right?
Un petit peu.
Okay.
Petit peu. Okay, recording.
Right.
Thank you.
On page Kuf Nun Ches, on the very top of the page. And prior to that top of the page, the Rebbe points out that what we discussed up until then, the principle of Kabbalah soil, is actually a low level of Kabbalah soil. And that is the Kabbalah soil of someone who is in the category of an Evet Knaani. And what is an Evet Knaani? An Evet Knaani is one who has no ratzon, who has no will, who has no interest in participating in the world. And I said I'm starting over again because I want to really expose the scene over here. Because the Indian that we are going to be discussing now is specifically Jewish. I'll start with the following oddity, perhaps. We know that there are things in the world, the basic presence, the tangible presence of the world is what's called an inanimate object. Inanimate means something that has no life and does not respond to any activity that you do with it. So this inanimate object where does it come from? What's it doing here? Is its presence here a total accident? And this is exactly what we're talking about. We're saying that the beginning of the world, the very beginning of all existence, is a divine creation. There are many different levels in that. But in general, everything, including the inanimate object, is a divine creation. And thus, this inanimate object is actually representative and represents and stands for the divine intent and will in the creation. This will in the creation itself represents the Creator at different levels. There is that which results in the inanimate level, which is simply, excuse me, that there should be a world per se. Then there is that which represents the worldly relationship to its creator. That's a completely different spirit, a different presence. But everything that exists is a divine creation. And it has to be recognized. The fact that it's a divine creation gives it, even to the inanimate level, gives it a certain status, a certain worth. Since that the Creator wanted to create it. The fact that the Creator wanted to create it, let us step into that. Before he was created, there was nothing there. What aroused us, what brought up the whole idea that there should be an inanimate object? There was nothing in the world that demanded it. This was the Creator's own will that there should be an inanimate object. In other words, this inanimate object is rooted in the Creator's perception, idea of what He wants in the world. So it is representative of the Creator's identity, a defining definition for world. This is the Jewish perception. That we look at we see everything in the world, even the non-object, as also a divine creation. Not like a Nebuchadnezzar, who is totally disinterested where it came from. He's interested only in how it affects him. The inanimate object doesn't bother me. I don't care about it. Because we have, as the Rebbe is going to explain, because this is what I'm going to that we come from the pnimius of the ratzon. Pnimius ratzon means where does this ratzon come from? What's behind it? It didn't happen accidentally. Nothing in the world happened accidentally. Nothing in the world happened without the divine intent and allowing it to be. If it's divine intent, allowing it to be, means that it is rooted in a value that the divine, that God allows it to. Now, if we say, I'm jumping a little bit, not too far out, just to prepare us for what's coming. There's such a thing in the world as Kabbalah soil. Kabbalah soil, which we're discussing already for weeks, accepting of the yoke. Acceptance of the yoke means you're doing something simply because it was imposed upon you to do it. Now, this imposition, you're doing it because you're imposed. Does it represent anything, or is it insignificant? This fact that there is such a thing as an imposed value is also a divine creation, a divine design. What's the point? This is what we are learning, and I just want to introduce the principle as we are already discussing. This imposed value is that which brings to the world the consciousness, the awareness that there is an involvement of the Creator in the world from the Creator's perspective. Because the world has no understanding of it at all, doesn't even ask for it.
One more time. It brings to awareness that there's the Creator's involvement.
The Creator's involvement. This union that is imposed means it originates with the Creator.
Oh, like human beings didn't come to this. It is like the stone. It is placed here.
Exactly. It is His imposition. He is giving it. It is completely Him. So the Rebbe says that there is the Eved Kanani, who is totally devoid of any sense of value in his life. So if he is receiving an imposition, he's given an order, it's a totally in perfect order because he has got nothing of his own at all. The minute you give him something kind of order, all of a sudden he comes to his feet. He's got some kind of an identity. He's got something to do. But that's not the real Amit is Kabbalah says. Because this entity, without this command, it doesn't exist.
And you might have thought it's more Kabbalah's all because he's an empty vessel.
That's right. You would think that way. And this is what the Rebbe explains, and this is why I'm going back. You should understand. And I'm starting on the top of page Kuf Ches, okay, towards the middle of the line, of the top line. Avo, however, in contrast to what we discussed in Rebbe Tnat, Amit is inyan Kabbalah Malchus Shamayim, the true principle of Kabbalah Malchus Shamayim. Is not a perfectly, totally empty vessel, empty entity that is inanimate. Who the true in Kabbalah is sheyesh lo ratzon v'tainuk b'avidosa. That in fact he does have a ratzon, he does have a will, and it not only a will but also a delight in his avodah. If he has a will and a delight in his avodah, rak, except, I'm going to finish this, except she'ein shel tzerech atzmi. Except it's Kabbalah saying. It means it's not for his own sake. In other words, it is not in order to gain appreciation or to appreciate in order to experience his delight. That's not Kabbalah saying. Except, and even though this is not in order to appreciate delight, nonetheless he has delight, and it's still called Kabbalah saying. So now the question is, where is this kind of Kabbalah sale come from? If he has a sense of want, of a time, why then does he relinquish his tainuk and go for Kabbalah sale? The koyach zeh, this koyach of Kabbalah soil, despite the fact that Kabbalah soil that also includes the ratzon v'tainug in Kabbalah soil, this koyach who b'neshamas Yisrael, that is exclusively present by neshamas Yisrael, mipnei shemushroshim b'bchinas ak, because they are rooted in the ak aspect. Odom Kadmon. I have to go a little further to be able to discuss it. The Hine, for behold, Ak, Odom Kadmon, Nikro, Raib, or the whole Raib, is identified as referred to as Raib of the whole Rabbin, the will for all wills. Bechinas Rotzin, Lerotzin, the aspect of will for will, to want. So this ak, this creation, it's called, that has a will to want, Raiva de Raiva. He does not have, he's not turning towards itself, to satisfy itself. If it's not to satisfy itself, so what kind of will is it? And the answer is, of course, it is the will of the Creator in creating it.
Amen.
Now,
meaning superseding the so-called individual will is some kind of deeper.
in other words, his individual will
Yeah.
is the will of the Creator that created him.
We start out saying they're not the same, meaning why would somebody give up his own will to osir
He doesn't need.
Then we said there's delight in doing so. There's tainug. Then we said that this is because it's rooted in ak.
One second. No, we are mixing. It's not that simple. We can't just jump back and forth.
Wait a second, we're talking about human being or Evet Knani here?
No, we were trying to come higher than Knani.
It's confusing.
The Evet Knani is totally disinterested in the fact that the world he exists is as a created world. All he's interested is in what he has, not where it comes from. Now we are on a different level. We are on a level of that which was created from ratzon, from the will to create. And therefore, he's conscious that this is a creation, and that this creation was intended. And he relates to the intent of the creation rather than what he can get out of the creation, how he experiences the creation. And therefore, he himself is embraced and imbued with the will to participate. Because that's where he comes from. Will to that there should be a creation.
Right. His first thought might have been, what can I get out of creation? But he goes deeper.
Yes, but we have to correct that. Thinking to this. If he has this thought, what can I get out of creation? When he goes deeper, it can never be real. Because principally, it is still his own being that is the center of his existence. He can never truly be imbued with the will of the Creator. So we're saying that this creation, this neshama Yisrael, they're rooted in the Creator's will to create. So that their very essence represents the will of the Creator to create. Not the fact that they exist, but the fact that there is a will in their in existence. And because there is a will in the existence, he turns to know, what is my existence about? Who is my creator? Without that, I cannot satisfy this will of being. Because being is not real. So therefore, he turns around to dedicate himself to the will of the Creator. He is rooted his existence is rooted not in existence, but in the will that there should be an existence. It's called ratzon v'ratzon. This is why originally when we started with today's class. We have an inanimate object. What is this inanimate object? Now let's think about it. How is an inanimate object viewed by the dog, REBBE, and how is an inanimate object viewed by the human being? To present it in the most simplest of terms. The dog, a inanimate object is a totally inanimate object. Either he ignores it or he pushes it away. The human being looks at inanimate object. What is it for? How can I use it? What's it for? What's its point of being here? I'd like to ask a point-blank question. We walk out and we see the horizon, we see mountains and valleys, and we stand there in awe and say, oh, what a beautiful scene. Mountains. Would you think a dog appreciates the beauty of the mountains? Artist.
No, and there are people too like that.
That's right, because that's what just now learned. They're all Knani.
I worked for a goy when I was 17, who had a farm up in the Catskills. And the first day I came out and I'm looking around at the hills and I say how beautiful they are. And he laughed at me.
Okay. All right, so that's exactly what you're saying. Okay, and I don't want to take much time. The point is, yes, this is specifically a human appreciation. Because a human being starts, a yid starts from the ratzon of the ratzon they create. The ratzon in the creation. There's mountains, valleys. There's a design to it. And that's what he relates to.
We are saying he relates to something even deeper than the functional. What can I make from this? Meaning the Romans too developed civilizations, etc. But we're saying
absolutely the Romans are bishvil atzma, for their own sake.
Right, which is already a step much higher than the behemoth, which has no cognition of where it is. So so too the goy observes and says, what can we make of this? Why is it here?
Sorry.
How can we?
Okay, very good. Cognition is where it is. There's no question that every human being, there's no human being that's going to walk into a wall.
Nor
a dog may run into a wall. Because he has the wisdom not to go into the wall, he's going to get hurt. This is not because he respects the wall. No, is it because he respects himself. Just as I don't want to get hurt. Comes to mind a modern day representation. We developed clothing is a very important part. Now there is what's called the simple clothing.
What?
Simple clothing, the simplest of clothing, the dungaree. It's made in specially. The dungaree, the heavy material that makes specially to do away with the finesse of a garment, with the beauty of a garment, just to make it as simple as you can. Then we go a step further. What's a step further? That the dungaree has to be torn at the knee.
The jeans.
The jeans. It must not look new, neat. You take a brand new pair of jeans and you tear it. You pay for this tear, professionally done tear. This is a phenomenon of our day. Think about it. Where did it come from? I do not want to be burdened by being a human being, by being self-respectful. It's a burden to me. I want to be able to walk around and eat and just any place. This is a phenomenon, a especially the Torn Dangvi, that speaks volumes of the mentality that has seeped into our. This is contrary to what the Rebbe has given to the human being. This is why the Rebbe is screaming, go out and save the boy from his own shagas. Not only the Yid, because the Yid has a mitzvah from the neighbors. Save the goy. Make a human being out of the goy. Give him a sense of self-respect. This is what the Rebbe is saying. The real creation, the Eibus's creation, has a ratzon in it. It has a spiritual definition of what it is. And then this spiritual definition, this ratzon, has to go a step further and say that what complements, what makes this being, this presence revealed, when identified with the Creator, with the intent of the Creator. It is not something. This is where the whole mishagas of the torn genes came from. Because we did away with religion. We did away with God. The whole thing is just an evolutionary process. So of course, let's get down to the basics. And this is what you're saying. No, wait a second. You're misunderstanding the whole thing. This spirit, this finesse that you have is not developed because you want to be better than your next guy, because it was given to you by Creator. This is ratzon. This is where you got it from. Rabbi is saying, we must bring into the schools a moment of silence. Talk about going. What's the point? Moments of silence, we give the goy a sense. Yeah, there is value to life. There's something real. So the Rebbe is saying that yes, he does have a ratzon and time, but he does appreciate, he does know that there is value to life. And then he goes a step further and he says, this value to life is not merely what I have, but I want to relate to the maker of this value. Kabbalah says, where does it come from? That is when it becomes real. If it's something I've developed my own experience, it's not real. This is how it dissipated in the world. Because you did away with God and everything else fell apart. Kabbalah soil says, no, God is still involved in your creation. And the spirit that you notice is not a mistaken spirit, it's not a misplaced spirit. There is real spirit in the creation. Coming from the Creator. A Yid cannot lose sight of this spirit. You can confuse him, but he cannot lose sight of it. Because that's what a Yid is. He's rooted in this spirit of the Creator. Ratzon the Ratzon. My time is up, right? One more minute. Since I went this far, I just want to point out an interesting thing. We all know that in this mishagas that's going on in the world, at the forefront of that mishagas is a Jew.
Is what?
Is the Jew.
Yes.
You know why?
Yes, it's true.
You know why? Because a Jew has to cover up, has to run away from what he really is. So he has to go to the extreme, he goes to the extreme. Because really, that's just contrary. It contradicts his own view, his own self. In order to forget about his own truth, he goes to that extreme. A goy doesn't need to go to that extreme, he belongs there. A Yid does not belong there. And it, because there's a guys that came up in human thought, that this is where we want to strip ourselves of any spirituality. So who goes at the front? Who is the most extreme? The Jew. Because he has to convince himself of this. Otherwise, he doesn't really see it. This is why it's extremely important that a Yiddish Jewish child has Jewish education, not education. Education is going to throw him down into dumps. Who were the communists?
Jews.
Anybody know?
They're Jews.
Jews.
Karl Marx.
Huh?
Karl Marx.
Who arrested the Rebbe?
Jews.
Jews. Ex-Yeshiva. The most safe side. All right.
Hashem should help.
Huh?
Hashem should help.
We have to